I think Roy himself is an icon for Medina. He's very unassuming, Roy, like his cinema in a way, the outside of his cinema. And he just loves cinema. He loves being a projectionist. He loves people seeing the films he puts on. He loves sharing film with people. And so he's been very obliging for us, because we go along, we're a rowdy bunch. We take our nibblies and our wine, and he's very accommodating in the fact that we can take them all into the cinema while we watch the movie, and we have a hoot of a time.
I've always wanted to have an indoor theatre, so when I moved here to Medina 18 odd years ago, this was one of the first requirements that happened, and it started life as an open air for the first 2 seasons, where I only could screen in the summertime, but I then added on to the shed, and it then became enclosed, and then I had to start thinking about what sort of decor I would do for the theatre. And I had a few friends that had cinemas in their house, and they had an Art Deco type theme, and I thought that I didn't want to do the same, so I thought, well, nobody's got an atmospheric theatre, or anybody around that I knew in eastern states has got an atmospheric theatre, and I thought, well, that's what I'll do. I'll do the style is an atmospheric. Now, when I say an atmospheric, it's a representation of something that it's not. In this case, it's supposed to represent a Florentine garden. You're supposed to be sitting outdoors with the blue sky overhead and the stars twinkling in the sky, surrounded by courtyard walls with statues and vines and trees, and it gave you that impression. Now, we had one atmospheric theatre in Perth, and that was the Ambassadors in Hay Street, and that unfortunately was demolished in 1972. My first job was an assistant projectionist at the Princess Theatre in Fremantle, and then later I transferred across to the Oriana Theatre in Fremantle, and then later on I was transferred to Perth, where I worked at the Piccadilly Theatre and then went to the Grand Theatre. So those 3 theatres that were in my early childhood I finished up working at. I think everybody that walks into this auditorium is quite amazed with it. I mean, from the outside it looks like a big shed, but once they walk into the foyer, they think, oh yes, this is something, it's not a shed. And then of course when they walk through the doors and come into this auditorium, it's a wow factor. And I think or hope that it sort of takes them back to their movie experiences when they were young. Yeah. Which pleases me no end.
Who is Roy Mudge?
A jovial man who always has a smile for you.
Come on, buddy. Not really.
He's just... Roy reminds me of our suburb. I call our suburb quirky, I suppose, for want of better words. There's quite unique characters. And Roy is the type of person that he doesn't show a lot of emotion. You're not quite sure what he's thinking when you say, oh, we'd really like to show Blazing Saddles. And he'll just put it on even though he hates the film probably. But he's just got this way about him. He's very quiet and, as I said before, unassuming, but also very obliging and wanting people to come and share in the love of film.
You know, someone of my generation is just like, wow, this is a like time warp. It's you know, fairly kitsch, but it's obviously been created, you know, with a lot of you know, devotion and knowledge of the cinema.
You know, most of the time I come around to see Roy is I don't go to the house. He's in here doing work to it. You know, he's got the screws out, or he rings me up, so I need to put some chairs in or something like that kind of thing, and oh, yeah, I'll come around and give you a hand, no problem at all.
Okay, then. All right, then. Yes.
My wife made it, was on top of the
P-A-C-K. But that's only part of my name. But that's what everybody knows me as.
I love the intermission. Yeah, it's great. You know, you can have a cup of tea or instant coffee and an Arnott's biscuit.
He rings you up to make sure you're going, or if you came in the shopping centre, he tells you about the movie coming up. I mean, if we haven't been for a while, he rings up and see how we're doing.
Yeah, they interviewed me here all day on Friday.
You talk to somebody on the street and you say, oh yeah, well I go to, you know, cinema to watch a film on Medina Avenue. Oh yeah, is that the guy across from the Salvation Army? Yeah, it is. Oh yeah, I've heard about that, it's supposed to be really good. So it's not only just the little bit of the people that do come here on Saturday nights affected. It's actually impacted the whole area because people do know about the theatre.
You can tell friends in Fremantle or Perth that there's this quirky cinema that's unlike anything they've seen anywhere, and it's going to be playing movies that they wouldn't see at any other cinema. You know, it's going to be a black and white classic or something brought to you in Technicolor.
Where's his crossbow? I didn't recognise Edmund Purdom when he was doing his sword fight.
Oh, okay.
No, I knew it was William Tell.
We like a night out, and like I say, it's the people you mix with that makes you feel you want to go back there again and again.
I look at it that, okay, it's probably cost me $20,000 or $25,000 or more. I just look at it, all the enjoyment it's given me, and all the people that have come in to see a movie here, and I think that's more important, I think, than the money side of it.
It's also things like things you may have not remember. For instance, the ticket box. You know, before you had printed tickets. What you do these days is like, here's a cinema for, go and enjoy the movie, see you later kind of thing. This whole concept of the old ticket box, just bygone eras where a lot of people have forgotten.
And you know, you don't have people sitting behind you arguing and carrying on or wanting to put their feet up on the seat and kicking you in the butt. There's nothing worse when you go to the movies and someone behind you thoroughly seems to enjoy kicking in the butt for the whole night.
Everybody knows everybody, and they all sit in their same seats. They've all got their seats, so lo behold, any newcomers that are actually sitting in their seats, they get a bit testy about that. But no, you know right away who's sitting in what seat.
Yeah. I know if I go with Mum, we like to sit sort of near the heater. That's where she likes to sit, so I kind of sit with her. But yeah, no, I just dance around the place.
I mean, when he first told us that, you know, that his brother was wanting to have the house back and that he had to strip this down, we were like, have you talked to your brother about it? You know, can you keep it up even if he puts the house up for sale? And evidently all that had been discussed. And he said, no, he said, I've got to take the whole lot down. And I said, well, what's going to happen? I mean, is this the last time we're going to see you? My understanding is when Roy moved there, it wasn't his house, it was his brother's house. And there was going to come a point in time when that house would be sold. And so that's what's happening now. And Roy's decided to move further closer to Fremantle. And I understand he has a lot of other things he does in curating films around Perth. So maybe that's going to be easier for him to do that. And yes, that's as much as I know about why he's moving on.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Roy.
yep.
That was
Okay.
terrific.
Thank you.
For all the
Yep.
I'm
the
going.
movies.
All right.
I really enjoyed them.
Yep.
Where's the rifle?
Straight Yep.
Well, I've worked in the industry for over 50 years now. I've seen quite a lot of changes, both social and technical. And sitting in this auditorium of my own creation, I think I have enjoyed my career. I have enjoyed entertaining the nation, and I think I would not change a thing.